They thought it would be a celebration of science, but it became the world's darkest mystery. The last thing anyone saw on the live stream were those eyes, massive, glowing, and motionless, just watching. Then the feed cut. Static filled millions of screens across the planet. People screamed, news anchors froze mid-sentence, and deep below the Pacific Ocean, all contact was lost. For 72 hours, the world held its breath. The submarine named Nyx had been built with tech no one had ever seen before, funded by billionaire innovator Calder Rowe, the same man behind half the smart devices in every home. It could withstand pressure deeper than ever tested, and it was equipped with AI-driven navigation, a biological sampling lab, and a neural recording system. 3 of the world's top scientists were on board: Dr. Kamira El-Sayed, a marine xenobiologist, Dr. Jonas Lee, a deep-sea roboticist, and Dr. Rafael Bentez, a geologist obsessed with tectonic anomalies. They were handpicked, brilliant, and now missing. When Nyx resurfaced 3 days later, it was empty. The exterior looked normal aside from some minor dents from the descent. But inside, something was wrong. The oxygen tanks were still full. The control panels were active. The safety hatches were locked from the inside, and yet no one was there, except for a single pattern etched into the titanium alloy of the inner hull. Perfectly symmetrical, circular, and geometric, like a star blooming in reverse. And in the cabin speakers, softly, endlessly, a voice whispered on loop, "We were never the first. We were never alone." The message wasn't in any of the crew's voices. It sounded older, slower, like it didn't come from a human mouth at all. Governments rushed to classify everything. Nyx was taken to a black site. Calder Rowe disappeared. The live stream was scrubbed from the internet, though millions had already recorded it. And in the corners of the dark web, people claimed to have enhanced the last frame. They said they could see something reflected in the eyes, something that looked like a city. But the real story didn't end there. It started again, 6 days after the return. That's when Dr. Aiko Tanaka received a package. No return address, just a weathered box soaked in salt water. Inside was a single USB drive and a note. "They're showing us the way." On the drive was a file containing GPS coordinates to an uninhabited island in the Western Pacific, just above the Mariana Trench. The same trench where Nyx had vanished. The coordinates matched no known research site. Aiko was a marine biologist specializing in deep ocean behavioral mapping. She'd once worked with Dr. El-Sayed. They'd exchanged theories about deep-sea cognition, even joked about writing a book together one day. The minds below. So when she saw the pattern on the USB file, the exact same shape etched into Nyx's walls, she didn't hesitate. She booked a flight, chartered a private boat, and sailed into the unknown. When she arrived at the island, the first thing she noticed was the silence. No birds, no insects, just waves and wind. And then she saw them. On the beach, near the high tide line, were dozens of massive sand patterns. Not drawn, not carved, etched into the wet sand, like they'd been burned in with heat and light. All of them variations of the same star-like shape. All of them precise, mathematical. Every night new ones appeared. By morning, they'd be gone. Locals from nearby atolls refused to come near. They whispered about the waking ones and claimed the waters glowed blue under the moon. Some even said they'd seen people walking into the ocean at night and not returning. Aiko set up camp alone. She brought sensors, drones, and a recording rig. But what she really wanted was understanding. That night, she stood on the shore, staring at the glowing sand. She thought of Kamira, of those eyes. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the water receded abnormally fast, like the sea inhaling, and something emerged. It wasn't a creature, not in the traditional sense. It was more like a shadow outlined in bioluminescence, taller than the trees, moving with silent fluidity. As it passed over the beach, the patterns in the sand pulsed, reacting to its presence. Aiko didn't run. She couldn't. Her legs refused. The air felt charged, like a storm building behind her eyes. Then, it looked at her. And she heard the same voice from the Knicks playback, only now it was inside her head. "We were never the first, we were never alone, but we are waiting for one who remembers." Then it vanished, melted back into the sea like ink into water. She collapsed. The next morning, Aiko found her camera gear fried. Her backup drives were empty. But on her hand, burned into her skin like a brand, was the geometric pattern. When she returned to civilization, she tried to tell someone, anyone, but nobody would listen. Calder Row was missing. The governments denied the entire expedition. And every time she uploaded her findings, they were instantly flagged and removed. Until one day, a new video appeared online, not uploaded by her, not from her equipment. It was a new angle of the final Knicks descent. And in the reflection of those massive eyes was Chimera, not afraid, not struggling, smiling. And behind her, thousands of patterns glowing on a stone floor, inside what looked like an ancient underwater chamber. Aiko watched the clip 100 times. On the 101st view, something changed. Chimera looked straight into the camera, and she spoke. "You won't find us by digging down. You have to remember what we forgot." Then the video glitched and turned to static. People across the world reported seeing different final messages. Some heard their own name whispered. Some saw cities underwater that didn't match any known structure. Some claimed to remember being there before. A global phenomenon began: mass dreams of the deep, shared visions, a rising obsession with oceanic geometry, with recursion, and with patterns found in ancient sea fossils. And on beaches around the world, from Iceland to Indonesia, the star-like shapes began appearing in the sand. Always at night, always gone by morning. Aiko has vanished, but her tent is still on that island, still perfectly preserved. A single solar panel powers a blinking green light inside. And every month, another scientist disappears, quietly, without a trace. The message continues to repeat, endlessly looping across pirate radio stations, deep space listening posts, and rogue ocean buoys. We were never the first, we were never alone, but we are returning. So ask yourself, what do you really see when you look into the ocean? Because something is looking back, and it remembers us. If this gave you chills, don't forget to like, drop your theories in the comments, and subscribe for more strange tales.